This ESPN podcast is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report in studio.
I'm very excited.
Lena Dunham, your second BS Report. Some people said you'd never come back.
It's a real honor. I told you that the reason that I wanted to come back, besides being a big fan of yours across media, is that the Teamster captain on my show called me into his office and was like, Lena, I have to talk to you for a second. And I was incredibly scared because he never speaks to me.
Yeah.
And he was like, I heard your Bill Simmons podcast. That was cool. So I was like, if I can make Teamsters happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crossing all kinds of demographics.
That's a really
Teamsters.
tough bracket to get into, Teamsters. And
people don't realize you promote your show 24/7. They were in your yellow girl sweater.
This is new. I didn't know if it was too much or just enough. It's actually Elvis promotional merchandise.
Oh.
So it's not, it just happens to tie in. But I was so attracted to it. I was like, you know what? This is like the kind of thing like a rapper would do this. Why can't I do this?
If anytime a rapper would do this, why can't I do this, is a reason for anything, I'm in.
Okay, good. I'm 100% so glad.
In.
I love your room.
Thank you. Yeah, we were talking about before we started taping how we both go on eBay and weird places and buy weird things and search for things.
Yeah, and search for...
Use fake names to buy the things and all that stuff.
Well, my favorite is like buying... You have a lot of really good old eBay posters. My passion is like buying the poster for a not great movie from like 1984.
Oh, wow.
That's
like a Xanadu type movie?
I think Ishtar is a great movie. Not everyone agrees with me. It's one of my favorite films. So I bought several Ishtar posters on eBay, selected
like a different languages?
Oh.
Do you do that? Like the Italian Ishtar?
I haven't gone that far. I feel like the people who have Reservoir Dogs in German, like I feel like that's a little bit of like a pretentious poster move. I just bought like different formats of the Ishtar poster, different sizes, selected the one that was most pleasing to me and put it on my wall.
That Ishtar is, I like your passion for Ishtar, because there was like a movement in the last 10 years that Ishtar suddenly became underrated.
I love Ishtar. I'm not going to say it's a flawless film, but I am going to say it's like ambitious. It really looks at America's relationship to Middle Eastern culture in a complicated way. It asks questions about celebrity. It asks questions about success. And it's Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty together, plus Charles Grodin. Who could have a problem with that?
And you want to do the female version of Ishtar.
Yeah.
It's one of your dreams. After Girls makes $1 billion for you.
One of my dreams
female Ishtar.
Is that I can self-finance the female Ishtar, which is basically like a Sarah McLachlan and a Fiona Apple head to the Middle East.
Sarah McLachlan and Fiona Apple?
Like it's... Because what Ishtar is like two failing folk singers, but I want to do like two female...
people playing those type of...
People playing those types of women.
So they'd have to be able to sing.
They'd have to be able to sing, but they're kind of a little... It's sort of women who are still living in like the glory days of Lilith Fair. Fiona Apple and Sarah McLachlan have both in real life moved with the times.
Were there glory days of Lilith Fair?
Well, I was at the first ever Lilith Fair.
But I mean, wasn't it a one-time thing, or were there actually glory days? Was it a glory day or a glory days?
Lilith Fair went on for about 4 years.
It did?
And during that period, it was the hottest place to be.
I remember one of them was huge.
I went to the first one with my mom. I was 11. I remember she bought me like a little cropped denim jacket and like a Laura Ashley style dress. And I went with my little sister, who was 3 but turned out to be a lesbian. So no, this was Greenwich, Connecticut. We drove to Greenwich, Connecticut because it was the only Lilith Fair that we could get tickets to.
Okay.
We drove and we sat like out on the grass. My mom like bought us churros or whatever, and we just like sat. And I remember seeing women with armpit hair and being so shocked by it. Like,
and by the way, that still goes for me in 2014.
You still shocked by it?
Yeah, I'm always going to be shocked by female armpit hair.
Now I'm excited kind of by female armpit hair, but I remember at the time like looking at my mom and being like, what is happening? Why? And like women kissing, and Paula Cole was really big at the time, and there were all these women at the front of the, like right at the bottom of the stage, like on their knees bowing down to Paula Cole. Like,
what was Paula Cole? She had a TV theme that was huge. Was she Ally McBeal?
Dawson's Creek, and it was the one that was like, I don't want to wait.
Oh, yeah. I like that song.
I do, too. She was amazing.
Indigo Girls, I feel like were the Bird and Magic of
Oh, yeah.
That's a basketball reference. You might not get that, but
I don't.
but Bird and Magic, a little fair. Like they showed up. And I gotta say,
Bird and Magic mean like the main attraction?
Just like two of the greats.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Although we never
Bird
knew what
and Magic.
Yeah, kind of Bird and Magic in the same.
I know what that means.
I actually think they had some good ones. Some of their songs still hold up.
They're incredible.
Ghost was a good song.
Incredible. And do you remember?
Closer to Fine is a good song. It's
do you
still
remember
a good song.
when Ed Helms did the incredible rendition of Closer to Fine on The Office?
No, because I didn't watch The Office.
That was like an important moment.
Office moment?
It was an important Office moment, and it was an important Indigo Girls moment. That's like my genre is like women with guitars and pianos of the 1990s. Like that's where my true musical passion lies, and everything else kind of springs forth from that.
So Tori Amos?
Obsessed. She's a brilliant genius. She wrote a musical.
So I'm like right out of college when Tori Amos hit. I was both attracted to her and frightened of her because I felt like there was an intensity, like if you went on a date with her, that would go to a whole other level. But I was
really
kind
dark.
of also wanted it too.
Totally. Like, you feel like you'd go on a date with her and it would be really good, and then she'd castrate you.
Yeah, or like just she'd go back to your house and then would just immediately leave, and you'd never see her again, and you'd wonder what happened for 20 years.
And you'd find out that she was a ghost.
Weird, yeah. It was weird, or you imagined her.
Those were like the first musicians that like made me feel excited to be an adult, if that makes any sense.
Do you feel like Fiona Apple is part of that era or no? Because you could make a case either way.
I loved her, but I think that she's defied the era in a way that's very impressive. Like, I think a lot of those other women, as talented they are, have been sort of like ghettoized into like the Alanises, the Sarahs. People are not really letting them grow past that moment. And Fiona has just like gotten more interesting and weirder and more experimental. And she's still, for the people who still follow her work, she's never been better.
You know, I saw you recently and we were talking about Google deep dives.
Like deep dives.
Fiona Apple and Paul Thomas Anderson is a Google deep dive for me. I think I've done a lot of background reading on that relationship. I would watch a documentary about it. I would watch a TV series about it. I would watch
like a 3-part narrative.
They kind of almost ruined each other's careers.
Yeah, it got
really
super
intense and weird
other.
And dark, and I think there was a lot of pot smoking, and they were just really bad for each other, but I think it wasn't like a destructive thing. A lot of pot smoking
seems like a neutral.
Yeah, that might have been. I
feel like you were being really kind. Like a lot of pot smoking sounds like the like.
I was defaulting low.
The PG analysis.
Yes.
Have you ever seen the blog oldloves.tumblr.com?
No.
You are going to thank me so much. It is a blog where they just show pictures of couples, like celebrity couples who've broken up.
Oh.
And it's unbelievable. It's like, did you know Glenn Close and Woody Harrelson dated for like 2 weeks and were pictured together once, both wearing denim overalls?
Glenn Close and Woody Harrelson? Very strong chins in that relationship.
It's a real chin relationship.
Like Jay Leno would have been the child.
It's true. It's amazing. And then like they had like 10 pictures of Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson, which is a relationship
that might have been
I'm
a Google deep
with.
dive for me too. Yeah,
I'm obsessed. Or like for me, a Google deep dive is Heather Graham and Heath Ledger.
When was that?
2003, earlier. 2000. They had a super intense thing. Like there's like pictures of them like lying together on a towel in the park. Like that is my deepest passion but then it'll also show you like Greta Garbo and the husband she had for 2 months in 1945. Like it's an incredible blog.
What about Liz Taylor and Larry Fortensky? That was one of my favorites. That guy with the long afro mullet. He was a construction worker. It was like her way of going against the grain.
I'm leaving the business for a minute. The craziest thing that ever happened to me was like, Old Loves is my passion. I check it like once a week. It's how I kick back on like a Friday night. It's just like see what Old Loves has done.
Okay.
And I was going through it, and I saw my boyfriend and his girlfriend from high school. Like someone.
Your current boyfriend?
Yeah, Jack.
And his girlfriend from high school?
Yeah.
Who was the girlfriend from high school?
Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, wow.
I know I shouldn't spill that in a public forum, but it's you can Google it. You can see it.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm not jealous. Howard Stern asked me if I was jealous. 17?
Oh, when she was a child actress.
Yeah, it was very I love looking at pictures of them.
She's making movies with Darius Miles about the Harvard plot or whatever.
She's beautiful. He's beautiful. But it was just so surreal to be looking through this blog that gives me so much pleasure. And then there's my boyfriend. I was like, my mind is going to explode.
You thought you were hallucinating it.
I really did think I was hallucinating.
Yeah, that's pretty scarring.
Like, it would be like seeing my parents.
Is there a blog for when somebody who's dated a lot of different people, like Adam Duritz or Ed Burns?
Like,
is that a blog, or is that part of Old Loves?
It's part of Old Loves. You'll see, like, Adam Duritz and Jennifer Aniston, Adam Duritz and Courtney Cox. Adam Duritz is, like, big ups to him.
Well, I feel like there's a snowball effect. I think if you get one or two, if you get to two, then the other ones start getting intrigued.
Oh, my God.
It's like when dogs hear barking and the dogs kind of
100%.
run over it because they hear barking.
Suddenly everyone's like, what's
this barking?
What is up with him?
What's this barking with Adam Duritz?
I know.
And you just go on a little run. Like David Spade, I think, is like that.
Incredible.
It doesn't make sense.
I
but
saw
it's
David
like
Spade at Howard Stern's birthday party, and I was like, whatever he's doing, it's working.
Right.
Like, he had the appeal to me of, like, a serious European businessman.
Right.
Like, I was looking at him, and I was like, that guy seems like a guy with a lot on his plate.
Corolla has a great theory about why people like David Spade do well, these little guys.
What is it?
Because he feels like for women, it doesn't feel like it's a total hookup. It's kind of harmless. It's kind of
like,
innocent. Kind of
like just letting like a little kid hug you or something.
Yeah, but repeatedly and
and in a different way.
Yeah, not like, it's.
That's so interesting.
It's like, oh, I guess I'll do this, and it's not you're not intimidated by it.
I remember I had a friend who had a whole theory about little guys, how they like accessorized to compensate. Like, she was like, every time you meet like a really short guy, he's wearing who's kind of out in the social world, he's wearing like bright red shoes.
And like an awesome leather jacket.
Yeah. Like they're never just wearing like a hoodie and a t-shirt. Like,
well, Jared Leto's like he's like a tiny little wispy guy, and he's been doing 20 years of business.
I'll never not feel passionately about him.
Because of My So-Called Life.
Yeah. It's crazy. It was like the things he awakened in me can never be put back to sleep. So I just can't quit him. Like, if I saw him, he was kind of near me at the Golden Globes, and I felt like...
You felt like a little kid.
I felt like Angela Chase. I felt like, I can't breathe. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if you know remember the moment in My So-Called Life where Jordan and Angela finally hold hands. And, like, that Buffalo Tom song starts to play, and they're walking down the hall.
Oh, which song was that? It was...
It's called... it goes like, I close my eyes at night... It's like a really intense song.
It's one of their slow ones.
It's a real slow burn.
I only saw all of those once, but my wife, we have all the VHS tapes from whenever that was released.
That's so cool.
Then the DVDs happened, and now we have those. But then I think there's some on the DVR, too.
My favorite episode...
There's only like 20 episodes.
It's incredible, but there is a Christmas episode where Juliana Hatfield plays a ghost.
Really?
It's incredible.
I remember that. I gotta say, I have trouble separating Homeland Claire Danes from My So-Called Life Claire Danes. You can still, part of me always feels like I'm watching Angela.
Well, there was a contingent of people who thought Carrie was the grown-up Angela, like who like had a deep conspiracy theory that like this was the continuation of Angela Chase's life.
See, I'm not against that, because I always feel like when I said Dallas Buyers Club, McConaughey's, let's face it, he's probably going to win Best Actor, but he's always McConaughey in whatever movie his looks change.
He's just doing his
I would have been fine if they just made it Wooderson from Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
Like they took the real life story, but then twisted it.
Like Wooderson got AIDS.
Wooderson got HIV, but then he started and then he could have just been Wooderson.
Yeah.
And then you bring in Randy Pink Floyd for like one scene. It's like, oh my God, Randy Pink Floyd, what's he doing?
Yeah, like, oh hey, what's up?
Yeah.
I always thought that like if you had any real proximity to famous people, that your obsession with famous people would like wane in some way. Like I thought like, oh, if I'm able to go to the Golden Globes or whatever, I won't want to deep Google Matthew McConaughey's early relationships for hours before I go to bed. And it's just gotten worse.
Oh, really? Went the other way?
Yeah. I thought like it would in some way free me up from my like incredible desire to like read every issue of Us Weekly and understand like try to imagine like the home dynamic of like Amanda Seyfried and Justin Long, but like I can't stop. Even though I could meet them in a social situation and it would be lovely. I feel like maybe I'm defective in some way because it's not.
It's just how you grew up. I'm watching now. My daughter's going to be 9 in 3 months. She's just started like grabbing the Us Weekly off the night table and flipping through it because she likes to see what people are wearing. But I know it's going to be funny to watch the gradual change to be like, oh, they broke up? Like, as soon as, like, all that kind of stuff.
My grandma, at my house, it was just like the New York Times and books. Like, my parents had strong feelings about that, and occasionally Vanity Fair. But my grandma got People, and it was like, I was like, please, can we visit Grandma? Just because I wanted to look through every issue. It was my passion to read People. And I learned, I can't even figure out how much I love
Older People is really good. And if you want to do another deep dive, People has a great website, and you can go through and read all the magazines from the 70s and 80s. They had like investigative Hollywood pieces and stuff.
Oh, I've like done full Google People deep dives. I've read so much about like Linda Manns from Days of Heaven. Like they did like a profile of what her life was like when Days of Heaven came out. It's like one of the best articles I've ever read.
They have a lot of good John Belushi coverage. That's how I found out.
Do they really?
Yeah, I go on Belushi deep dives every once in a while. That's my dude.
So much. Do you use, that is your dude.
Well, I feel like it would have been really interesting to see what happens to him.
I know.
There's two different scenarios. What happens if he does an OD? I think it goes just really bad as movies get worse and worse. He gets fatter and scarier and he dies anyway. Yeah. Or what happens if he doesn't have a drug problem?
Like what happens if he gets clean? What
happens to his career? Because you think like if you were betting money on Dan Aykroyd after Trading Places in 1982, you would have been like, oh yeah, that guy's going to be, this is how his career's going to go. But it actually went a different direction for whatever reason. I don't know what happens to Belushi.
So interesting to think.
I don't know, like, does he end up on a TV show? Is he, like, on NBC in 1987, like, playing a lawyer in Chicago who likes to drink? I don't know. He definitely does About Last Night.
Definitely.
He's with Rob Lowe in About Last Night. He has the Jim Belushi part.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's why Jim Belushi did it, because they both did the play on Chicago.
And then Jim Belushi did Curly Sue, which is an important movie to me.
Really?
I watched Curly Sue like 57 times as a child.
What about, so Home Alone was that era too, right?
I watched Home Alone until I broke the VHS.
Okay.
And it's so weird, I was very attracted to Macaulay Culkin. Like, when I was 6 and he was 8, that was what I thought, like, a sexy person was. I was like, and now looking back, like, just the idea of being attracted to him at any age in Home Alone seems so perverse, but it was like, in Home Alone, there's a whole part where he goes into the city and he's running around Central Park or whatever. Yeah. And my friend Amanda and I used to, like, imagine that we'd be like, look, he just passed. Like, we'd think about it so much. There he is. He just ran by.
How hard is it with girls to resist the urge to put people you loved when you were a child into an episode as, like, a one-shot deal or whatever? Like, you could have Alanis Morissette on a show. She could play a barista or something.
It's so hard because we kind of firstly, like, if Brad Renfro were still alive, like, he would be my boyfriend on the show now.
You think he would have been Adam?
Me?
You would have been a different character.
Or I would have been a different character because I loved Brad Renfro so much.
I love Brad Renfro too.
He's amazing.
He was kind of like River Phoenix without the publicity of the death.
He was amazing. His death really hit me in a hard way. It was one of those celebrity deaths that I had, like, deep feelings about and kind of couldn't let go of. And, like, some days I just wake up thinking, like, what would Brad Renfro have been doing now? And his career as an adult, he did this movie called Happy Campers, which I really like, in which he plays a camp counselor. And there's a real, like, he plays a camp counselor and, like, Jamie King is in the movie. It's a real, like, kind of, like...
I like Jamie King.
I like her, too.
Never made it.
She's great.
Somebody stole her career.
She's on Heart of Dixie.
But never... Should have been bigger.
She's so beautiful.
She's really pretty.
There's an incredible...
I wonder if Ally Larder stole her career.
She's an incredible... That's a really great question. There's an incredible article about Jamie King when she was James King and she was a model. Jennifer...
She should have stayed with the James.
James was like...
It was great.
She was so chic, and it's like, she's 15 and it's a New York Times Magazine cover story called A Girl Named James. Yeah. That was written by Jennifer Egan, who wrote Welcome to the Goon Squad, and she followed Jamie King for like 10 days, and it's like a beautiful piece of prose about this teenage model. James
was a great gimmick. You know, I was telling you, when I saw you recently, I was telling you about the game Wesley Morris and I did on the podcast about who took whose career. Brad Renfro and Leo DiCaprio. Leo DiCaprio's an interesting one. I don't think Brad Renfro could have taken it, but I think it was Leo DiCaprio probably helped a tiny bit by no Brad Renfro.
Well, that's really interesting.
Because weren't they same age? Relatively, right?
I don't know how I feel like Brad Renfro would be like 37 now. Like
Leo's 40.
Yeah. I feel like they were neck and neck. What I think was interesting about Brad, though, was he started out as, like, a real heartthrob, and I think he was, like, getting weirder and more interesting. Like, him in Ghost World is, like, full character actor.
Right.
And
it's kind of like a poor man's Heath Ledger, like, with how his career would have gone.
I mean, he was I think he would have been doing, like, gritty, interesting roles, and, like, he would have been willing to gain weight for things. But I just, like, loved him, and I felt like, I don't know.
He was drugs always, right? Like, wasn't he, like, pretty much from...
He was like bad boy. I feel like he got arrested when he was like 14. And I just like loved him. I knew a girl who had kissed him. And it was like, I couldn't describe to you how that made me feel. He was one of the like, I had a bunch of guys who like plastered my room in high school. Like
Who else was in that room? Jordan
Brad Renfro, Jared Leto, Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, so you were in early on Jake.
I was in like October
Good
Sky,
work.
Donnie Darko.
Good work. Bought some stock early.
I bought some stock early in Jake.
I was in on Leo from Growing Pains. He had this great episode. I was all in after that.
That's so smart. Yeah, I was only in after Titanic. But he wasn't like an on-the-wall guy. Like, I got what was great about him, but he wasn't an on-the-wall guy. The biggest obsession, like crazy, was Jimmy Fallon, which is so fun. Like, now I've encountered him, I've been on his show, but it's like the way that I felt about Jimmy Fallon, like if I missed the opening monologue of SNL, I would cry. And my mom said
this is late 90s.
This was probably like
2000 range.
2000 to 2003 was like
so you're in that 11 to 14 kind of range.
I was in the like more like the 13 to 16, and I was just obsessed. Like him on SNL, like if he would giggle, that was like 1,000 points to my heart. I just loved him. I like would drive. I'd make my dad drive me places to see him live. I had an autograph from him that I had on a napkin that I framed, which I still have somewhere. And I was like, the way I felt about him was unreasonable. And it was funny when I met my boyfriend, my mom was like, I love him. I hope you never break up with him. But I always thought you'd marry Jimmy Fallon.
Well, who knows?
She was like, I mean, it could happen.
Could still be in play.
But she felt like so sure, like she was like looking at him on TV and looking at you as a child. I thought like when she gets to be 24, she'll be old enough, they'll have the right connection and like it'll just happen.
See, it was easier for you to devour pop culture growing up than it was for me because you had so many cable channels, you had DVDs at that point, you could catch up on stuff.
Did you go to like the video store and get lots of VHSs?
No, it was like we probably had 50 channels like when I was 14. Like getting HBO was a big thing.
Was it really
HBO
exciting?
didn't have a lot of movies. Like there was one summer where they just showed Eddie and the Cruisers over and over again. That was the only movie HBO had.
Amazing.
But then, you know, by 20 years later, it was you had this whole library of stuff. Plus, the late 90s was a really nice time for movies.
Oh,
and rewatchable ones. You had all those like teen movies like
Oh, yeah.
It was like 10 Things I Hate About You and
Obsessed,
that whole genre.
went to the theater over and
Cruel
over.
Intentions.
Cruel Intentions, 10 Things I Hate About You, She's All That.
Yeah. It was a great
huge one.
Good era.
I mean, Clueless is still probably my favorite movie of all time.
Clueless started it.
Clueless was so big for me, I couldn't believe... Like, when I saw it, I just was like, I can't believe this has been missing from my life. I watched it over and over, and I could still enjoy it anytime it was on TV.
Yeah, it was like a 6-7 year run of... then it still kind of feels like it's going still.
It really does, and I also love, like, the Sundance of the 90s, like, the indies that kind of... Like, I love... Like, some of my favorite movies are, like, Beautiful Girls. Like, that...
I love Beautiful Girls.
So good. And that's...
That guy died.
I know, it's such a bummer because he could have done such great stuff.
Didn't really have an ending.
It was
the one flaw.
Beautiful Girls didn't really have an ending?
No, it didn't really. It's just kind of like, he's like, I guess I'm going to marry the 7.5 and maybe I'll get a real job. It's
I know.
Like, all right, great.
I just remember feeling like I was waiting for someone to, like, see me the way that guy saw Natalie Portman. Like, I was like, I'm a Natalie Portman.
By the way, it's kind of creepy to really watch that now because I feel like he maybe should have at least seen a therapist.
Yeah, it's true.
Because I think
he goes deep with that girl.
She's 4 years older than my daughter, and if, like, the neighbor, and I was like, what are you doing with the neighbor?
Yeah.
Oh, he's just my friend. Dad, leave us alone. I'd be like, no, I'm not going to leave you alone. Why are you hanging out with this guy?
At all.
Who is this guy?
You're not allowed to hang. I think that there's just a blanket rule. Let's just say, at this point in history, 13-year-old girls can't hang out with adult men who aren't their dads or their gay uncles alone.
Natalie Portman, she has that one scene in there where she's like, they have the poo scene.
Which
where
scene
it's like,
is that?
It's like the Winnie the Pooh analogy.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
You didn't grow up. You could wait for me.
Yeah.
If my daughter ever tells a 30-year-old guy when she's 12, you can wait for me.
You're going to commit her.
She's going to an all-girls school with nuns.
That's like, it shouldn't happen. And also just when you're 13, you're not even really supposed to be having those thoughts. Although in My Girl, I love her obsession with her teacher, Griffin Dunn. Where she plays, his name is Bill, and she plays that song, Bill, I Love You So, and I Always Will, and like lies around clutching her chest.
90210 had a plot where they were all digging the teacher during one of the summer sessions. It was like the acting teacher. That was like a 90s thing.
It was a 90s thing, and I also feel like he was like 22.
But before it became bad to dig your teachers.
Yeah, now, well...
I forget maybe it was the Nicole Kidman movie, kind of flipped the narrative.
Oh, yeah. That was really...
Now it's not cool to like your teacher.
It's not cool to like your teacher.
The teacher would go to jail.
Yeah, the teacher would go to jail. You'd feel like a jerk.
You'd ruin their life.
I never dug a teacher. I dug teachers like emotionally, but I never had a teacher that I had a crush on.
Wait, let's go backwards.
Yeah.
So people that you need to get on girls just to fulfill some weird childhood love of them.
Well, it's hard because
Macaulay Culkin, maybe.
I'll pay attention to anything he does. He literally started a band called the Pizza Underground. That's the Velvet Underground, only singing about pizza, like covers of Velvet Underground songs that are about pizza instead. And I was like, not a bad idea. Like, I am fully in support.
And the nominees for Best Record are the Pizza Underground.
The Pizza Underground. It was like Kendrick Lamar. The Pizza Underground. We kind of made this rule early on with girls where we were like, we're not going to bring on we were so lucky in that, like, HBO didn't make us attach a star to get the show going.
Yeah.
We got to cast who we wanted to. We got to cast a world of characters. No one had ever seen any of us before.
Well, you guys had such an advantage. You were all the daughters of major celebrities.
You know.
That was one of my favorite backlash storylines.
It was incredible.
Your mom, the super world-famous artist.
Well, the best part was I kept being like, anyone who's writing about this, I dare you to tell me one fact of my mom's biography or to have ever looked at anything she's done.
What about, David Mamet, one of the great screenwriters, but not a household name.
No,
not like
it's
somebody
not
who could be like, put my daughter in this, and then...
No, and then, like, everything will happen for him. And then,
That was hilarious.
And I know that Jemima's dad was a drummer in Bad Company, but...
The band was 40 years ago. How is that going to help your show?
It was really an unbelievable thing. I also liked
That's when you had to, at that point, start enjoying it, though. Like, all right, so this is going to be the backlash?
Like,
okay.
My mom would get so worked up about it. She would look on, like, there was the Gawker recaps, which I didn't read because I don't read Gawker, but literally it's the only, like, I'll lie and say, like, I don't read gossip sites. Like, I love gossip sites.
Right.
I literally get no pleasure from the Gawker kingdom.
Right.
But my mom would look, they like did these recaps where they wouldn't call us by their names. They'd just be like, Laurie Simmons' daughter, David Mamet's daughter, now Brian Williams' daughter is talking to David Mamet's daughter. And it was like, I wanted so badly to get inside those people's heads and go like, is this really what you think like the landscape of Hollywood is? It's like you walk in and you're like, my mother has one photo in the collection of the Museum of Modern Art. I'd love to have a TV show. I wish.
Like, what floor?
I know, exactly. I wish it worked that way, but unfortunately, it just doesn't.
No, what happened was Judd Apatow liked your movie. That was your break, but those are breaks that happen 100 times a year.
I know. And it's like...
It only takes one person with a little clout to like something you did, and
I know, and
all of a sudden you have a TV show.
It's true. And it's really... And I feel, like, insanely grateful all the time. And it's not a good look to get defensive and be like, listen, my mom isn't actually world famous. Like, it's a better look to just let it roll off your back. But it was really lucky because HBO didn't say, like, this show can only go if you, throw in Emma Stone, who I love, but she wasn't, most of the stars that people were excited about, A, didn't want to be on TV, and B, weren't going to necessarily do the right thing that we needed for the show, which was to have a world of, like, kind of anonymous faces moving through New York. And so now we try to really stay within the world of the show and not, like, go, like, let's just do a quick cameo with Matt Damon as a cop. Like,
It made me mad when Entourage... I didn't like when Entourage started doing that.
We have one celebrity cameo this season, and it's Patti LuPone.
Evita.
Yeah, and she's playing herself. It's the only time we've ever done that.
Evita?
She's not playing Evita. She's not playing Ava Ferrone. She's playing Patti LuPone. And it was really funny because we had like a big debate. We were like, is it jumping the shark for us to have Patti LuPone playing herself? Finally, one voice of reason was like, that's niche. I mean, she's an incredible actress. Working with her was one of the coolest days of my life. But it was definitely not like, it was definitely not like hiring Meryl Streep to play one of our moms, which of course we're all like so excited by the idea of learning from these incredible people, but we have to respect what the world of the show is and not get too sort of highfalutin or stunty in our casting. I mean,
well, the biggest swing you took was Patrick Wilson, right? He's a real actor who leads movies and leads TV shows.
Yeah, he's a real actor who leads movies and leads TV shows. And the fact that he was down to come and play for a week and a half on this episode that could have been, and to some people was, a goddamn disaster, I thought was like a real testament to like his creativity and like actor nature. Because not a lot of people would have been psyched to do that. He was just like, yeah, my wife's a fan of the show. Seems fun. This script made me laugh. Let's do it.
That caused some marital issues in my house, that episode.
Did it really?
Yeah, because my wife was really watching it intently, and I'm kind of like, what's going on? Why do you like this episode so much? She's like, I just like it. It's a great idea. And I'm thinking like, wait a second, you like Patrick Wilson, don't you? She's like, he is good looking. It's good to get a whole half hour of him. I was like, oh.
He is so good looking that I always compare it to like, you know how like when like a donkey and a horse mate, their children will be sterile. Like, I'm like, I couldn't even, like, Patrick Wilson and I aren't even really the same breed. Like, we wouldn't, and it was funny because when there was all that backlash, like, a guy this attractive would never hook up with a girl who looked like this, I both took the cultural position. Was that a backlash? Oh, there was crazy internet
that's why I don't read that stuff.
There was crazy internet stuff of people being like, this was unrealistic, this was masturbatory. And so I both had to take the position of like, that's not true. There are plenty of couples who don't have a 1-to-1 looks ratio by traditional standards. And I also had to still internally feel that Patrick Wilson's one of the most attractive men I've ever seen in my life. And kissing him was even fake kissing him is a surreal experience. He is also the coolest wife in the world. And she tweeted back at a lot of people who were giving the episode negative attention, saying this man would never have sex with this woman. Yeah. She basically, the fact that his wife was jumping to my defense was the most amazing, awesome dynamic.
Did you feel like, because we did a podcast June 2012, so it was after your first season.
Yeah, that was really fun.
And the show was obviously heavily dissected, good and bad.
Yeah.
Did you feel like second season that got into your head at all when you're creating it, or were you able to compartmentalize it?
We were actually really able to compartmentalize it, partly because we're always writing by the time the show comes out. So it's we're able to hear the feedback, but we also already have our ideas. And I think that we are all a little bit too stubborn. And sort of when people say you can't do that, our reaction is, oh, yes, we can, and we're going to do it double time. And so if anything, we sort of react by going further in the directions that we've been told not to go in, which is, maybe not the most positive human tendency in human interaction, but it's really fun in the context of making work.
Well, one of the things, you took some heat in the first season that there were no black characters.
Yeah.
So then in the first episode of the second season, Hannah just had a black boyfriend, which I thought seemed like a little bit of this.
Well, it's funny because next use of the middle finger. It was definitely smash cutting on Hannah f***ing a black guy. It definitely sent a message. But we had been planning to do this arc with Donald Glover all along just because we love him. I'm a huge fan of his music. I'm a huge fan of him on Community. I was desperate to work with him. And so I'd say the only concession that we made was that he comes back, we come back, he's my boyfriend, and we basically engineered that fight between them to kind of include some dialogue about sort of Hannah's ignorance about modern racial politics.
Or tunnel vision.
Yeah, because the thing about Hannah as a character is she obviously has quote unquote good liberal beliefs, but she's way too narcissistic to have examined the modern landscape. So she's yeah, racism is terrible. But then in the 1960s, we had the civil rights movement, and now everything's fine. She lives in this fake utopia that's really just a result of self-involvement, where she's like incapable of seeing any imbalance or prejudice that doesn't directly affect her. So it was fun because Donald was so down to have the conversation about that, because it's something he's experienced as a black guy in Hollywood. It's something he's experienced as like a guy who's been in interracial relationships. And so he just was totally excited to go there. And so we just improvised for like an hour and a half. And I have to say, there were times where I, as Lena, had to like step outside and be like, I'm really sorry for what I just said as Hannah. Right. I want you to know I don't think that's an okay thing to say. I'm just fully going into her splintered negative worldview and trying to like give you the most honest version of that.
Why do you think people think that you and Hannah are the same person?
So funny, because I
don't think that happens with male actors. Like if you were playing the male version, I'm trying to think like
would people go up to Larry David
Piven,
and like
they don't think Jeremy Piven, people don't think he's the agent, although he's probably closer to the agent than you are to Hannah. But
well, it's funny.
You know what
Today
I mean?
I took the BuzzFeed quiz, like which girl's character are you, and I got Marnie.
Really?
I was shocked. I didn't think I'd necessarily get Hannah, but I don't know. I was like, maybe I'll get like Elijah, but I got Marnie, and which is like, I was like, oh, now basically probably the universe is going to implode on itself, and we'll all die in a fiery crash.
Do you think people expect you to be more like Hannah when they're like at dinner with you or something? Like, she's totally different.
Every day, because when I am Hannah, I like have a very specific posture that I do. Like she has a way that she stands.
Hunched over.
She's kind of hunched over, and so it helps me to put on the clothes. Once I have my hairstyle and I have the clothes on and I'm wearing the weird clogs, like it all just kind of happens. And she has like a way that her body becomes. So every time I meet someone in real life, they say, you've lost so much weight. I haven't lost weight in like 2 years. I've been the same size for a long time.
So it's the posture that deceives people.
It's the posture and just like the energy of her, I guess.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting.
It's kind of like you're clumpy. And
she's like kind of like sits like this all the time. She does this weird like upspeak, and she ends all her sentences like so,
Right.
Like she's really always hedging her bets and like the way she moves and the way she talks. And it's funny, like people feel so comfortable talking to me, which can be a real blessing. Like I love hearing people's reactions to the show and interacting with fans. But like, for example, I was on an airplane last week and a woman passed me and she was like, I love the show. And she kissed me on the head. And she didn't seem insane. I think she just felt like I was sort of bound. She didn't feel a sense of boundaries with me because of it. And I was just trying to imagine that happening to anybody else. Like,
I think it's partly because of that show, because people feel like the four ladies in the show are kind of their weird friends in a weird way.
Oh, it's really...
So I'm sure when they see you, they feel like they're seeing their friend.
Jemima and Zasha went to like the Brooklyn Flea together, which is like a cool flea market in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And they said like, and Williamsburg is like, people are way too cool to talk, and they said that they literally had to leave because they were so mobbed, because like the two of them together, people were so like shocked to see them moving through the world and so shocked to see them out of character. And Jemima was pregnant at the time, and like it was just too much for people to wrap their brains around. They were like, we've got to get out of here.
And it does seem like the people in New York have a little bit of an ownership, good and bad, with the show, where it's like, well, these were the people that were picked by the big TV network in the sky to tell the story of people in their 20s in New York.
Yeah.
And when they screw this up, I take it personally because nobody else is doing the show. Meanwhile, there's been other shows.
I mean,
How to Make It in America was kind of, had that torch too, and there's been some other ones.
People coming to New York to make their fortune is literally the oldest story that exists.
Right.
Like it's kind of the basis of almost every sitcom that's ever existed. So it's interesting. I think there was something about the demographic we were serving, the fact that we weren't on a network, the fact that the show was called Girls, which kind of has this universal feeling that people just felt like the show had a real responsibility to tell their stories.
And then all your celebrity parents that got you the show. I think
that's hard too.
It's a higher pressure.
It's a really high pressure.
4 high-profile parents.
My dad laughed so hard because he was like, tell this to people, because he had a review of one of his shows and it was like, Lena Dunham's dad has a new painting show. And he was like, you've ruined my life.
Lena Dunham's dad, I like it.
He was like, I can't tell if I'm proud or disgusted. He was like, I guess I'm okay with being Lena Dunham's dad. He was like, it's just not necessarily how I thought at age 65.
This is my Twilight years.
My headline would go. I was like, I'm so sorry.
What's the biggest note that people give to you when they're like crossing a line where they start writing the show for you? Like people are like, why haven't you guys thought about this? Or why haven't you guys done this? Or what's happening here?
Anyone who has a personal issue wants to see it explored. Like someone's like, you guys haven't done a good bulimia storyline. Or like, it's always, I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not bulimic and I haven't been bulimic. And so that's not really my territory to explore. Or like, you know, when people really want to see their own reality reflected back, there's also a lot of like, you should shoot at my favorite bar. Like, everyone goes to this, but then I'm like, you don't want me to do that because then everybody's going to start going to your favorite bar and then you're going to hate me.
Right. Then you'll be like, what bar do they go to on Sunday Nights Girls?
People tell me all the time that I ruined Grumpy's for them, which is the coffee shop that Ray works at, because a lot of writers like worked at Grumpy's.
Oh, that's a real coffee shop?
Oh, yeah. It's like
I thought you guys made it or something.
It's too perfect that it's called Grumpy's and he works there, but yeah, it's a real coffee shop and people are like, you ruined Grumpy's for me. I used to work there every day and now there's like irritating girls from Iowa, like sticking their heads in and looking around. And
the biggest thing my wife likes about the show is she feels that it's true to the sense of you have a group of girls like that, and it's not the good ship lollipop. And it's like you have best friends, but they'll have this history, and there's real things that they genuinely dislike about each other, but they get over it, and it'll blow up every once in a while. And she feels like you guys tap into that more than anything.
I have a really intense group of girlfriends. I mean, I have my friends that I've made since I've been working, who I love and cherish, but I have 3 best friends from childhood, who 2 of them have artist parents, 1 of them doesn't. We all have been really, really close on and off for a long time, and the group dynamics are so intense, and a lot of that is reflected in the show. Like it becomes
a little like Survivor.
Yeah. It really does.
There's tribes and there's mutinies and
oh my God. And once a month, one of us is getting married. The first one of us is getting married this summer. And like the intensity that is surrounding her upcoming nuptials is beyond anything I could imagine.
Somebody's mad about the dresses.
Oh yeah. And
somebody else loves the dresses. Yeah, it goes down that whole road.
We've also all been like weighing in. Like someone's like, I think we should all do mismatched dresses. I think we should do matching dresses. I think we should all arrive a day earlier. I don't think that's enough time. Like, the email chains, the prodding, I mean, it's so... And also people being like, every time anyone begins to fight, we have to keep it together because the wedding's coming up. Like, it's really... And it's also just really moving because this is my best friend since I was born, and I'm, like, seeing her, like, the surreal nature of seeing her, like, rent a tent for her wedding is so beyond...
So you're in wedding... How old are you now?
I'm going to be 28.
Yeah, so you're in wedding season. I was just talking to Rembert about this, who works for Grantland.
Really?
There's this like 6-7 year stretch of weddings. And the ones when you're in your 20s are great because there's a lot of single people and
then
it just becomes a free-for-all on Saturday night. But then, people start pairing up. And by the time you get early 30s, a lot of people who brought dates, and nobody knows the dates, and there's a lot of introducing and recapping conversations.
I have 3 weddings this summer. In like a month-long period, I've been to like 1 wedding of people my age. 2 weddings.
Yeah, you're about to rip some off.
It's crazy, and we're about to rip some off. I don't know if your kids aren't old enough to go through this yet, but in New York we had bar mitzvah year, which was like 7th grade. Every person got bar mitzvahed, and it was like I had like the busiest social calendar in New York. I was like, I have to go to 2 services and then 2 parties. Like,
they have the bat mitzvahs now too, right?
Oh yeah.
Because when I was growing up in Brookline, I was there for 7th grade, and it was. I went to school in a neighborhood that was more Jewish than Catholic, so we had a lot of bar mitzvahs, and it was like all of a sudden it was like going to a wedding every weekend for 13-year-olds. I was like, what is this?
Crazy.
Like when I turned 13, it was just a normal birthday. I was like, these people are getting cars for 3 years from now?
I remember my mom was saying to me, like, you're only allowed to have 2 dresses, and you can switch back and forth. And I was like, do you want to ruin my life?
Right.
Like, having 2 dresses for bar mitzvah
20 bar mitzvahs
is, like, pathetic.
Right.
Like, I couldn't believe it. And I had, like, she bought me all these shoes at Payless, like, different fun pairs of shoes. And because I was so, like, now I could give a shit if my shoes came from Payless, but I told everybody that they were Steve Madden, and I, like, ripped the tags out because I wanted everyone to think I had, like, 11 pairs of Steve Madden shoes.
What'd you do for awards seasons? Because you've had to go to some of these things. Did you get caught up into it, or did you do your own thing?
I kind of do my own thing. I mean, I have I have like a kind of, I hate this word, but like irreverent relationship to fashion. Like I love clothes, but I don't care very much about like best dressed, worst dressed. I actually get a kind of perverse pleasure from being told I look horrible. And so I get designers I love to make me dresses I'm excited about, and then I wear them, and whatever the reaction is, I just feel stoked that I got to wear these dresses, and I'm saving them all for, I hope, my future daughter. I like put them all in I dry clean them all and then keep them in the storage unit.
Put them in an attic somewhere?
Yeah, where I have developing a serious dress collection. I said if I don't have a daughter, someone better do a museum show with like squat, chubby mannequins.
I think for your next thing, if you ever do another TV show, it should be some high-powered Ally McBeal type show where you're a high-powered lawyer with great posture.
That would be...
And people just like, you've lost so much weight. It's like, no, I'm the same size.
Fun.
I'm just like this all the time now.
Well, my passion is like doing... Basically, my life's great passion is like the idea of being a guest star on Scandal. I want to be like a senator who did something wrong.
I'm sure that could be arranged.
I don't think I'm technically allowed.
What about a senator's aide who did something wrong?
Yeah,
because you're too young to be a senator.
I couldn't be a senator.
Or a chief of staff who's willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, but like playing like a real evil character.
That would be awesome.
It would be really fun. I've never really played anyone but a version of myself. I did one day on...
You're a good actress. You could totally do that.
Well, thank you.
You got to do something. Maybe like Mission Impossible 6, you're the bad guy.
I mean, that would be... I want to be a bad guy, not
just
a helpful
trying to blow
girl.
up Tom Cruise for 2 hours.
It's my dream. I got fired off of the one day that I did on... Fired might be rough, but I got sweetly dismissed from the one day I acted on Mildred Pierce, the HBO miniseries.
Really? Dismissed?
They told me that it was a 3-day shoot, and then at the halfway through the first day, they were like, "We got what we needed."
Oh, so you don't think you did well?
I know I didn't do well because the producer of Mildred Pierce, Eileen Landris, now produces Girls, and she said to me she was auditioning extras in the basement to replace me because that's how bad I was. And Todd Haynes is my favorite filmmaker. I kind of knew.
Oh.
I called my agent. I had had an agent for a month, and I called him at lunch, and I was like, "I'm going to get fired." And he was like, "Come on, everybody thinks that." And then I was like, I got fired.
So this was pre-Girls?
This was pre-Girls, post-Tiny Furniture. I had gotten called in to audition for Mildred Pierce as a waitress. I didn't get that part, but I was given a smaller part as a nurse who's in attendance while Kate Winslet's child dies.
Oh.
And I didn't practice. I looked over the script with my mom, and I was like, it takes place in the 30s. So I was like, am I supposed to do any kind of accent? My mom was like, they're hiring you to be you. Just go for it.
Oh, no.
And I was like...
No, they're hiring you to be a 1930s nurse.
Yeah, and I didn't get it. And so the line was like, her fever spiked around 8, but it's really good. Her fever spiked around 8. We don't know if she's going to make it.
You still remember the line?
Yeah, I remember there was a whole thing of her fever spiked around 8. We don't know if she's going to make it. Then I had to say, looky, dear, your mammy's here. And I didn't know how to say it, so I was just like, well, her fever spiked around 8. We don't really know if she's going to make it, but it's really good you're here. And you could just see everybody's faces drop. It was like I was Ricky Gervais in Extras. They were like, this is a f***ing disaster. They sent in this dialogue coach who was like, can you elongate your A's? And
oh no.
And I was like, okay, I'll try. And I just got worse and worse and worse. I started f***ing up my blocking.
Head. Yeah.
I thought to myself, am I a good enough actor that I could faint right now and be carried off set and no one would know?
Fake seizure.
Todd Haynes couldn't have been sweeter about it.
Yeah.
Could not have been more patient, but clearly I was ruining the scene, or at least not a very good part of it. And then...
Well, at least it was a feel-good scene.
I know. There was a 6-year-old writhing and dying in this bed. And then the best thing is that this year on Girls, that dialect coach, we were doing a scene that required English accents, and that dialect coach came to our set. And I was directing, and I saw her, and I had a full PTSD reaction.
Oh, no.
I was like... Hi, if you could go over there and talk to Adam, I couldn't take it because she was the bearer of such negative memories for me.
That's good, though. That was a good learning experience.
Yeah. Also, you're the person, now I watch 30 for 30, and I'm getting deep into deep into sports history might be an exaggeration. I'm just watching the things of the sports history related things that you're teaching me, but I feel cool.
We're going to get you to do one.
It's my dream.
We can't figure out which one because you don't watch sports at all, but there's some idea in there that you'll do.
I'm really into women's tennis.
Oh.
And I've watched women's tennis since childhood. And I know I'm familiar with a lot of the characters of women's tennis.
Maybe you're our road into the Monica Seles stabbing, because that's one we want to do for 20 years. She won't talk about it.
Do you think? God, that would be amazing.
That's a good one.
That's a world that really intrigues me. I've actually gone to the U.S. Open to watch women's tennis.
I am fascinated by the Jimmy Connors-Chris Evert relationship in the mid-'70s.
Oh, my God.
They were probably two of the 8 most famous athletes, and they dated each other during a totally different era. But I was like, I don't even know what the equivalent now would be. It would be like LeBron James dating Serena Williams if Serena Williams was more famous than she is.
Like Lindsey Vonn and Tiger Woods?
Lindsey Vonn's not famous enough. Like Chris Evert was like the single most famous female athlete, and they dated for like a year.
Steffi Graf and Andre Agassi are together.
Yeah, but that was like after.
I was so into Steffi Graf. Like, my dad is great legs. My dad's a super avid tennis player and has been since he was a kid, and tried to get me to join him. And I literally just took lessons till I could have the tennis skirt, then quit. I wanted the skirt, and then I was out. Same with ice skating. I ice skated till I got the dress, and then I quit. We
never talked about why there are no female showrunners, which is one of the things we want to talk about, because I think it's an interesting topic.
Well, it's interesting.
How many are there? There's you, there's Shonda Rhimes.
Jenny and me, who run Girls Together with Judd. Shonda Rhimes. Two gals created Trophy Wife, and I believe are running it, although I actually don't know the details of that. Got Genji Cohen, who's amazing and a total powerhouse.
Okay.
Mindy Kaling.
Yes.
Liz Merriweather. Those are the people that, and hopefully Jill Soloway if her Amazon pilot gets picked up, which I'm hoping it will because it's amazing. Those are the people I can think of.
And Orange is the New Black.
Oh, and Mara Brock-Akil is an amazing woman. She runs The Game. She created and ran Girlfriends, and she runs The Game, and now she's running both The Game and Being Mary Jane on BET.
The Game, the one that every time it's on, Twitter is just loaded with The Game tweets, and it's like the most popular social media show.
People are
other
obsessed.
Than Scandal.
People are obsessed with The Game.
I don't understand The Game.
The Game is like about.
Am I missing something with The Game?
The Game is like about basketball wives.
Right.
You'd be into it probably.
But I would like that, right? Why don't I watch The Game?
My boyfriend loves it. He's the one who got me into
Jacoby, why don't I watch The Game?
Why doesn't he?
Jacoby, do you watch The Game? No.
You should.
He's mad that I broke the fourth wall.
It's really good. The Game is really good, and.
But that's not a lot. You figure there's maybe over 100 showrunners?
Besides the fact that obviously there is, it can't be denied that there is, like, in most industries, with the exception of, like, nursing and quilting and hair, a bias towards men.
Yeah.
For many reasons, which we've been
That was the Jezebel headline for this video clip, by the way. Lena Dunham, bias towards men. Quotes.
Right there. I said it.
I like Jezebel, by the way.
Do you?
I do. Actually, I didn't like what they did to you that one time, but I do like Jezebel.
I think Jezebel can be really smart and funny. I think it's just like once you've been attacked in that way...
It's hard to go back.
It's hard to enjoy.
I get it.
It's hard to enjoy once you feel like they've made such a kind of monumental error in their approach
It's like it was a misstep.
Feminism.
I'm going to chalk it up to a misstep. I'm not going to write them off.
Yeah, I think that's really smart.
But I don't blame you for writing them off either.
For me, it was like I just can't sort of be half in. It just didn't feel...
That was wrong.
Yeah, it felt
I bet
gross.
they would think that was wrong, like in retrospect.
I think that they
I hope
did
they
not
think that.
I don't know, because I didn't talk to the woman who did it directly, but I can't imagine the reaction made her feel particularly great.
It wasn't great.
And I think
when you're putting up a lot of stuff, I think sometimes you make mistakes.
I can't imagine. That much content, I'd lose my mind. And I did have sympathy for that, but it was sort of like once they did post the unretouched images of me that looked so similar to
I didn't even know they did that part.
Oh,
I just saw the initial part.
And the images of me, I was kind of scared to see the unretouched images. I was like, maybe I'm delusional in this, and I don't look how I think I look. And it was like they smoothed a line here and shaved off like a part of my neck. It was the most minimal retouching. I felt completely respected by Vogue. I felt like, thank you for removing the one line from my face, because I'm 27 years old and shouldn't have that there. And I appreciate this. And instead of going like, hey, we kind of f***ed up, these pictures are not that unretouched, Lena, enjoy the Vogue spread that you've been excited about since you were 8 years old. They were like, she's not retouched, but she could have been. Like, that was kind of It was this weird, almost like political maneuvering that I just had a lot of trouble respecting.
Are you going to be mad at us when we CGI your sweater to say BS report on it?
No, I'm going to be excited. That'd be an honor. It'd be cooler. It'd be cooler than what I'm doing.
Wait, but back to the bias bias towards men.
There's a bias towards men, but I also think, and this is the same thing I think about female directors, that a lot of the traits that are instilled in women from a young age, like positivity, equanimity, making people feel good all the time, people think or are afraid that that is at odds with being a director or a showrunner or a person who's in a position of authority.
Yeah.
But the fact is like Jenny and I, and someone might argue with this, rule the girls set with love. Like it really isn't, we get no pleasure from like laying down the law. Like it's run from an emotional, connected place, and it still happens. So it's like, there's room for all kinds. There's no one personality type that has the skill to manage the goings-on of a television show. And I think...
Do you think it just comes down to, it's as simple as the more ideas that women pitch that get made into a series, the more female showrunners are going to be?
I think also there's this really frustrating thing, which is like networks kind of go, we already have our women's show. You know, like, I'm sure I'd be willing to bet that most networks that already have, like, you know, a show that they think is aimed towards women running go, we don't necessarily have room for a couple more of those, where nobody's saying, I'm sorry, but we already have 3 shows, Nate, called Dads. Literally every season, it's like bad dads, good dads, crazy dads, cool dads. Whereas, you know...
I think I would watch Cool Dads.
Cool Dads would be good.
Where would that be set?
I'm going to pitch Cool Dads. Cool Dads is set in Larchmont.
Cool Dads.
Yeah. And it's just a bunch of cool dads who hang out in Larchmont and cause trouble.
Soccer games.
Yeah, go to soccer games and do pranks. I love this show. And it stars Jason Bateman as the coolest,
I love
as
Jason
Bill
Bateman.
Simmons. By the way, Jason Bateman would play you in the movie of your life.
But that's been my guy since It's Your Move, which was 1 year, which was before you were born.
I love
it. It was this sitcom that came out in 83 or 84.
Really?
And all it was this guy, his mom was divorced, and the next door neighbor liked his mom, so he just did pranks on the next door neighbor. That was the entire show. Didn't make it.
That sounds like the best show in history.
It was great. It was great. They're on YouTube.
It sounds like the best show. I'm going to watch. It's Your Move.
So we need more female showrunners. So your advice would be, hey, females, come up with ideas that could be turned into shows, and then we'll have more female showrunners, or does it go deeper than that?
I think it goes deeper than that because women come up with ideas and the networks tell them that there isn't room for their ideas, and networks don't understand. Networks and studios still seem to be almost pathologically incapable of understanding that women make up 52% of the planet, and therefore programming that has women at its center is not a fad or a trend. It's a necessary expression, and it's a necessary part of media. It's like every time that a movie like Bridesmaids does well, there's like some crazy think piece like about like, can this last? And it's like, it's so funny because Claudia Weil is a director who we had on Girls, who is an amazing, she's a director who did an episode of Girls, season 2, episode 6 of Girls, and she directed a movie in the 70s called Girlfriends that I love and did a lot of television. And I was Googling her, and speaking of deep dive Googles and the People magazine page, I found a People magazine article from 1975 about her film. It's kind of describing like Claudia Weil as like feminine and genteel, and Claudia Weil carefully picks at her spinach salad. Then the journalist is like, can a movie by a woman do well? So many of them haven't. The question is, can this change? Like, it was this crazy, like, he was basically like, we'll see. It all rests on the back of one Claudia Weil. And it was like, the thing that was so crazy about it was change a couple non-politically correct terms, and this could be the same article that we're reading now.
39 years later.
Yeah.
But here's what I don't get. Shonda Rhimes is like carrying ABC right now.
Shonda Rhimes is
You would think would be looking around and going, well, maybe we need to go find some more of her. Where are they?
Hopefully progress is slow. It's a crazy thing to witness. Like, I feel like I've been reading the Are Women Funny articles since I was 14. Like that question of like, women getting funnier every day. Like, I feel like every couple years there's the like, guys, women can actually make jokes renaissance. Every couple years, you know, a Nancy Meyers movie comes out and does really well, or Bridesmaids comes out and does really well. And then the dialogue kind of recedes. And I think it's a really complicated thing, and I think it's frustrating because women who make television and film are kind of forced to be a voice for that inequality in the industry when they're like, guys, we're just here to make things. We just want to make things. But unfortunately, you're given that responsibility.
Kimmel's wife, Molly, who's been head writer for a while.
Yeah.
There's no real reason for it that I can come up with, but they can't find more female writers. You know, and now they have more than they did. But at one point, she was the only one for like 2 years, you know? And it's just but yet there's a steady pool coming out of that whole Harvard, the Ivy League. There's like this assembly line of writers that come out of there.
I think people don't always also recognize that, and again, like I could talk about this for 4 hours and my feelings about it change every day, but I think people don't always recognize that if a young woman is looking at the landscape of Hollywood, what they see are almost only challenges.
Right.
And so they might say, that's not where I want to go. I want to go where I feel like there's a space for me. Like it's a specific personality who goes like, I see no room for me and I'm going for it. And the fact is like, that's one of the things I like so much about Sheryl Sandberg's sort of lean in philosophy, even though it is aimed a little bit more towards executives and a little bit less towards creatives, is like the idea that women have to create space for other women. And women who sort of rise to a position of power can't be complacent in trying to bring other women along with them. Like, it's our responsibility to bolster each other and our responsibility to like guide each other and mentor each other and be present for each other, because otherwise it can be such a crazy battle. And I feel like sometimes I don't feel it because the world of girls is so women-centric that we don't necessarily feel the absence until we go out into the world.
I also think this is like a weird theory, but I think the people that would find somebody like you, like think about how you got found, right? Judd Apatow saw your movie.
Yeah.
And then just loved it. It resonated with him for whatever reason. He reached out to you. Didn't he ask if you want to do a TV series and so on and so on?
I was working on a pilot already with, actually Jenny and I, this is a technicality that most people don't know, Jenny and I were working on a pilot for HBO, and Judd came on board and helped us sculpt it and kind of ushered the whole thing.
Oh, so they matched you? Because they do that from time to time.
They matched Jenny and me, which is crazy because like it's like meeting your soulmate on...
So how did you get the HBO thing then?
They had seen the movie and they got excited about doing a pilot.
And how did you end up with Jenny then?
They said, we want to find you a showrunner. And...
Oh, so you were... That was a little bit of luck then.
It's crazy. It's like I met my soulmate.
10 directions.
It's like I met my soulmate on OkCupid. Like, there's so little chance that Jenny and I were going to fall in love the way we did. And it literally is like, I could not have designed a better partner in a laboratory.
And then you get the perfect overseer person.
Yeah, it was amazing. And Jenny and Judd knew each other because she'd been on the staff of Undeclared. And so she'd sort of been, once you enter the Judd orbit, you kind of don't leave in a great way. Like, he keeps his people together. And so he joined and he was like, I just want to protect you guys and help you do your thing and give you the knowledge that I have. And it just like turned into a beautiful groove.
I don't remember if we talked about this last podcast, but I'm bringing it up again about my theory about it's either one person or two people that make a show. And I think one of the reasons network TV sucks is, for the most part, it's this by consensus committee of creativity instead of just saying, there's Vince Gilligan, we're trusting him. He did this. We're going to give that to him. It seems like that's how Scandal works. It's Shonda Rhimes that are one partner.
Yeah, and Betsy Beers.
They leave her alone.
That's what they do.
Betsy.
Yeah, and it's a really amazing thing when networks can have the bravery to just like put their faith in something. That's what HBO's, one of their great skills is just saying like, we're going to trust the vision even when it doesn't totally make sense to us. And so even our failures will be noble failures because we're going down with the ship of an artist who has an idea.
They have two theories. One is that they trust a person or two people. Two is that every show they pick is about you have to go into a world.
Yeah.
So it's like it's like we're going into the world of gay single man.
Yeah.
Your show, it's like, hey, here are these 4 girls in New York City. But it's always like some sort of universe you're entering.
And you're entering it through somebody's POV.
Yes. All right. So we'll save serial killers for next time.
I'm so sorry about that.
Don't be sorry. We did a full hour.
I know. We got a lot done. I have a lot to say on the serial killer subject.
Well, you pass through LA every once in a while. And we didn't talk about being a musician's girlfriend, which I was interested in.
I'm really excited to share both those things.
Do you get, when you're at these concerts, your man is in the band Fun. Mm-hmm. Do you get weirdly protective at these concerts with ladies you feel like are intently watching the band?
A lot of his fans are like in the 11 to 15 range.
Oh, so unless it's like a Natalie Portman situation.
No, it really is. They're like, and I have a lot of trouble imagining him establishing a connection like that because he's staunchly moral.
Right.
But he definitely gets like intense attention from tweens that I just like kind of watch.
Tweens.
Oh, there's like...
I like the tweens.
Yeah.
That's an underused word.
I love tweens.
The tweens.
The tweens was like a big trend word for a while, and now tweens has retweeted.
Right. Tweens.
But he gets a lot of tween attention, but I have to say, like, none of the girls who are aggressing him at concerts ever feel like a true threat. I'm also just not an inherently jealous person. Like, I have so many issues, but that's just
apparently
not one of them.
after the Scarlett Johansson website thing that you just rolled over on that was impressive.
Oh, thank you. I really don't. It's like
if I saw that my wife dated like Jake Gyllenhaal on a website, I think I probably would be rooting for something bad to happen to him.
I mean, I knew that it had happened. It wasn't like I learned it from the website.
Right.
But still, it was like...
Bring it back up.
Like, I feel it's cool if your boyfriend's dated someone beautiful and smart and interesting. Like, it makes...
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, it makes you look better.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not like he dated a bunch of scrubs from the parking lot than me. Like, he really has an interesting romantic history, which is more than I can say for myself.
It's a good way to look at it.
Like, he should not feel proud of the company that he's in, for the most part.
How many more Girls episodes left?
This season, there are 6 left.
6 left?
5. 5 left. 5, and we're going to try to finish out strong.
Do you think Hannah's going to be back together with the president or no? I'm sorry, I got confused. Scandal.
That's so fun. Yeah, Hannah's going to get back together with the president, but Cyrus Bean really has it out for her.
We never talked about your love for Scandal.
I love it.
Are there any major swerves in these last 6 or no?
There's a couple big ones.
Yeah?
I got to say, I mean, as big as we don't do massive swerves.
Right.
So...
You don't have somebody ends up being somebody's half-sister.
No, I wish. It's my dream. But we just, like, we don't have the scaffolding to hold that up.
No. Well, part of the reason the show works is it's a realistic show.
Well, thank you.
You can't have somebody get addicted to diet pills and fall in the bathroom in the prom and get carried out.
No, even though that's a dream. We have some pills in these last episodes.
And your book is done.
My book is done. It comes out October 7th. I'm really excited about it.
You tweeted the book cover.
I tweeted the book cover.
Yeah.
People were nice about it. I thought they'd be bored because it's just text, but...
October, so then you're going to promote the hell out of it.
Yeah, travel
around.
Do some TV shows.
Some signings.
A bunch of readings. I'm going to try to make the readings thing like a really fun... Inclusive thing. Exactly. Right. Thank you for understanding my hand signal.
All right, so then you'll come back on to promote the book.
I can't wait. This is a real pleasure, as always.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Namaste.
Also want to mention Stamps.com. BS Report sponsor. If you haven't checked out Stamps.com, check it out. It is like having your own personal post office. If you go to their website, just type in the BS on the top right, and that enables you to get a deal on a whole bunch of stuff, including a scale and some free postage. We love Stamps.com. I stopped going to the post office about, I don't know how many months ago or years ago or whatever, but no reason to go to the post office anymore. Stamps.com.
Target% off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Gotta say, Golic, great call on grabbing Subway for lunch and getting guacamole on our subs.
Told you this new guac really amps up the flavor.
Yep, something adding up things can be great. Guacamole on your sub, a new co-host to replace you.
What was that?
Oh, no, nothing.
Subway now has deliciously rich new guacamole made from ripe Hass avocados with just a hint of garlic, onion, and jalapeno. Discover how new guacamole turns up the flavor on any of your freshly made favorites. Subway, eat fresh.